Hello everyone, my name is Monique Dominguez, and the title of my project is Learning English Through Sitcoms. So for this slide, I have added what the meaning of phonology and prosody is. I also included a reference that I used for these concepts and how I implemented it into my interview with my conversation partner and in the work that we did. Just some things that I wanted to read in regard to phonology and prosody is phonology and prosody play an important role in English grammar and may support that non-native speaker in sufficiently understanding the language. Phonology is the way words are put together, and each word has a different sound or meaning. Phonology is the use of putting sounds together to make understandable words. There are rules in place to put the sounds together to make a word. Otherwise, if you put any old sound together, the word may not make sense whatsoever. Prosody, on the other hand, is the way we stress certain words and the high and lowness in the pitch of our voice. When communicating, we may use our voices to change the sound of our words by bringing the volume up or down, loud or soft, and even faster or slower to make the words sound more natural, to communicate how we feel, or basically to be understood. By learning and understanding what phonology and prosody is, one is able to comprehend English more efficiently and have a better chance at succeeding in their new language learning journey. So for this slide, I actually added the work from my conversation partner that she had done. I will also be explaining an analysis and also the citation that was used. So an article called The Application of Technology in Teaching Grammar to EFL Learners. The role of animated sitcoms states, according to McNulty and Lazarevic 2012, unlike printed materials, videos provide learners with the chance to see and hear simultaneous communication, speakers' gestures, facial expressions, and other paralinguistic features, which can lead to improving economic language learning. While my partner and I were working on the phonology and prosody of words, I was able to observe her facial expressions and gestures. My conversational partner seemed to be having a good time in learning the language, which allowed the process to run smoothly for the both of us. No one was frustrated, and I feel that through the use of technology rather than printed materials, this allowed her to be more open to wanting to learn about phonology and prosody through communication. So for this slide here, I wrote down an interpretation of what morphology and semantics are. I also included a reference that I used for these concepts and how I implemented them into my assignment that week with my conversation partner. I also wanted to include that morphology is the way words are structured and formed. Morphemes are what break down words into smaller units and creates deeper meaning. There may be many morphemes within a word. Semantics also deals with meaning behind a word. However, semantics focuses more on how words or sentences may be understood by speakers and listeners, and how these words and phrases create meaning. With semantics, we can understand how the words are put together. They create new meaning. Morphology and semantics are key concepts in understanding the meaning behind words based on the context of language. During my observations, my conversational partner struggled in this area with breaking down the morphemes. However, once broken down, she was able to understand the semantics and meaning behind the words. This allowed for her to fully understand the meaning of the phrases and clearly and naturally state them aloud. In an article called Variations of Syntax and Vocabulary in Children's Writing by Eldonna L. Everett, she states, he has had an opportunity to play around with sentence patterns and story sequence and has gained a sense of accomplishment and pride in a bit of completed work. One should not discourage such writing for its lack of creativity, but recognize it forms the basis for more mature writing. This quote from this article assisted me in observing my partner and allowed me to understand the sentences and would even mix them up to see if they could be understood. However, after breaking down the chosen words from the sentences, she was able to understand the meaning behind them. After understanding the words and their morphemes and semantics, she was able to speak and write them out. Overall, my partner stated that it was a challenge, but once she was done, she definitely felt it was rewarding. So same thing with this last concept. I added right here the explanation of what syntax and pragmatics is, as well as a reference and how I included it into my observations. I also wanted to add that syntax forms the way in which the structure of sentences in a language are managed. It formulates how words and phrases should be arranged to create meaning in the phrases more clearly and effectively. Syntax is especially important for English grammar because it simplifies sentences and becoming more comprehensible. Pragmatics are essential in language because they produce meaning through language and allow people to understand how the context of phrases may influence the clarification of the meaning behind the phrases being spoken, the social cues within a setting, or even just the relationship between the speakers. A few important key aspects of pragmatics would be code switching and forms of nonverbal communication. So an analysis for this last PowerPoint page here is that my partner struggled the most on this task and said it was a bit challenging. However, she was not sure of the full context of what pragmatics and syntax were, and so after going over the meaning a bit more, she was able to handle the project pretty well. Although it was only 3 phrases that we broke down in their syntax trees, I did only add 2 here because of the space, but she was able to identify what kind of sentences they were and define the subject, clause, and verb. She stated the most challenging was determining the clause, I think it was the clause. Other than that, she stated that the syntax tree was not too hard to grasp after understanding what syntax is and watching the sitcoms to identify any syntax within the show. So, as for this last slide, I have added my conclusion here, which is my observation of the whole project altogether, which my partner was able to speak English more efficiently through the use of technology, sitcoms, and it really actually helped her. And by learning about the concepts that we talked about today, phonology, prosody, morphology and semantics, syntax, and pragmatics, my partner was able to complete some practice activities that also helped her gain a bit understanding of these key concepts. Once she was able to understand the key concepts, she was able to put them to practice, pronounce the words much more efficiently, and although she is not fluent in English still, she can state a few more words and sentences now than she would have been before, prior to this assignment. And last, I have added my references on this slide here, and that concludes the assignment here that I have finished. And I hope that you guys enjoyed the videos that connected to this PowerPoint. Thank you.